What's up, everyone? Welcome to the interview portion of the Spotlight. We are joined today by John Mosley, aka Mose, aka Jumpin' Johnny Mosley. You know him as the voice of many independent wrestling promotions. He is a commentator, he is a ring announcer, he is now booking his own shows. You might know of the Killer Be Killed group and the new shows that they've been promoting. So, John Mosley, thank you for joining, man. A good friend of mine got him on the show. How you doing, man?
Yeah, man, happy to be here. Thanks y'all for having me.
Yeah.
Appreciate you joining us today. It has been recording this on Tuesday. It has been a hectic day. So, I mean, you're running your own shows with Killer Be Killed. Jensen, I'm going to jump in with this first question. When is Cody Rhodes coming to Killer Be Killed? That's what I think everybody wants to know.
May have a couple. I'm going to try to get ahead of him, though I'm not against having Cody Rhodes on a KOBK show.
Yes. He wouldn't fit in. He wouldn't fit in so good with that crew. I don't know. Kind of different vibe you get from Cody than the rest of those dudes, huh?
No, yeah, definitely though. Hottest free agent, if a question mark going right now, no doubt.
Well, Mose, you got a lot going on, man. So let the people know kind of how did you get in, like a foot in the door when it came to independent wrestling? Because like I said, now you're doing a lot of stuff. But I know it's been like a long process of you kind of slowly becoming like a jack of all trades and now just becoming like really, really heavily utilized in the scene.
Yeah, the main thing, I got told no a lot. Just kept coming back. I had a friend that when I graduated from ETSU, I had a friend that has a small promotion in Tennessee, and that's how I met a lot of people. That's where I met Brett. So I went there to help film, and after doing that for a few months, I just kind of started riding with Brett to places and driving places, and anything they needed, filming. I wasn't doing anything on camera yet. I was just trying to, be a helping hand is all. And then really, it was the pandemic. I was doing commentary some on smaller shows, but when the pandemic hit, man, I was ready to go. A couple places, let me put me in positions to really get some good reps, and I've gotten better quick because of Dylan Hells, because of his advice, and just working with him all the time. I mean, that's the thing too, is I've had to call some really not great shows like when I wasn't very good. So now that I've gotten better, I'm calling good shows with like really, really incredible talent. So it's just really, taking that by the reins and really using it. And that's where, we get into the show and KOBK shows and stuff like that, was just learning, using good opportunities and getting everything I could out of them. A lot of help from Carrie Awful at Crux. I learned a lot there. Action Wrestling, TWE, Southern Underground Pro. The Scenic City. I'm around a lot of great minds, so I've gotten to really pick at them too, which has been I've only really been around wrestling for like 4 or 5 years, but I've gotten like a decade of knowledge in that.
Yeah, you mentioned Dylan, who we talked about Dylan a little bit. We had AC Mack on, and you do a lot of work with him. Who else would you kind of put in there? I know like Struggles is another big one. Who else has kind of been helping you out when it comes to the commentary side?
Struggles gave me some advice for sure early on. Emil's given me some advice, Sean MLJ. It's really like my people too. We're hard on each other. A lot of professional like wrestlers and just talent, a lot of them don't want to be, they kind of want to be told good things versus the truth sometimes. So having Brett and Dylan and Heater and these guys that I know, they're not attacking me. They're it's brutally honest, and that's made me get better quick, because there's nothing worse than like knowing I could have called a match better, and then Dylan is right there to kind of like this and this. So that made me get better quick. But I mean, it really is. It's Brett, it's Dylan Hells. I mean, Dylan's like a mentor to me at this point with everything the last year. I mean, I would not be as good as I am or really be where I'm at without Brett Eisen or Dylan Hells for sure.
Yeah.
What is your approach when it comes to commentary? Because I watch a lot of independent shows. I see a lot of chatter when it comes to independent shows on Twitter, and a lot of times people are like the commentary is unprofessional. They're just cracking jokes and all this stuff. They're not actually talking about the matches. I've heard a lot of stuff where, and it depends on the show. You know, Nick Gage is showing up at shows and he's drinking and he's having a blast out there. Like personally, like what is your approach when it comes to independent commentary?
Yeah, I'm not a big. I'll have a drink or two only at sup shows. If I'm calling a Southern Underground Pro show, I may have like a PBR. I like to attack it. You know, we're there for the talent in ring. I don't want to make it ever about me. I don't want it ever to be about, you know, getting a joke in or nothing. Like, to be honest with you guys, 9 times out of 10, if I've like when I'm doing my homework through the week, if maybe something like, oh, that'll be funny, or like I'll try to work that in. Most of the time I don't, because I think what's really got me far is being genuine, and I don't plan. I mean, it's everything I'm saying. It's reactionary. Doing a lot of homework the week of is a part of that. I know, you know, if I'm calling your match, like I've probably watched, unless I'm literally calling, you know, a lot of the action talent, the Southern talent, I'm calling their stuff weekly. So I'm not really worried about them as much. But if I'm kind of like I'm on the Blitzkrieg Pro show, I'm making my debut up there in a couple weeks. So that whole week, I'm going to be watching like so much of that talent. I mean, I'm familiar with them, but I want to know everything about you, so I don't have to think about it. I can just react. I may hit my vape pen a little bit before a show to kind of, you know, calm down. Maybe a little high if things are going real well. Intermission, I may hit the vape pen again. But I really feel like when I'm out there, I want it to be. I want you to leave your match if I'm calling it and just being like, you know, he did great on this. Everything I want, which is those are the best messages, is like after the Restival show, which I wasn't all the way happy with my performance there. There's a couple of things I wish I'd done different, but I had a couple of talent hit me up like, oh, you nailed this or this. And, you know, I really liked you saying that. So that's the best, just knowing like, again, that I'm an instrument for you and for you to watch that match back and go, okay, cool. I'm glad he was there. That's the goal.
Yeah, you know, you mentioned Southern Underground Pro there, and I definitely got to talk about that for a second because that's how me and Mose know each other. Full disclosure, from my time living in Nashville, and that was back when neither of us were really like that involved. Like we were like writing about it for like various sites and like podcasting and stuff like that. But for all intents and purposes, we were basically just fans that would go to these shows, and then you just kind of start seeing the same people at all the same shows, and you start talking to people, we start becoming friends with people, and now like years later, like I'm doing my thing with Fightful, you're doing your thing all over the place, in promoting shows now. The vape pen you're talking about, I'm very familiar with in the Basement East. Shout out to the Basement East in Nashville. But yeah, it's funny. It's funny how much has happened in just a few years, just going from pretty much just being a fan to being as involved as you are, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, it was paying dues, man. It was a lot. I mean, it's a weird brotherhood. Like I say, it's a brotherhood, but it's weird for me because I'm not a wrestler. I'm not a worker, but I've been accepted. I mean, you know, the first couple of shows I commentated on, like it was so weird to go in the locker room. Like that's, you know, there's little things like that in wrestling that matter because of the respect level. And it took a lot for me to kind of accept that in a weird way I'm a part of that brotherhood, and that's something I had to earn because you're right, man. Like I started out on the other side of the security gate there. I mean, the first time I was ever in a locker room, it was Brett and I film. Obviously, I've made a lot of videos for him, but we've got like a little documentary, man. I filmed like 2 years of stuff. And that was the first time I ever was in a locker room, was him literally like, I need you back here to film some of this stuff. So, I mean, paying dues, going to shows, asking to help. That's made it to where I feel more accepted. But it is, man, it is really wild to think about, like you're saying, having more than a couple of PBRs and really just being a fan. And that's the cool thing now is like when promotions that I don't do commentary for come close and my friends are on those shows, I get to go and be a fan there. Like, 9 times out of 10, if I'm at shows, I'm working it in some fashion. So it is really cool to like, see, see these guys out here and just go and just mark out for them again, because that's what I am. At the end of the day, it's just, I'm a fan, man. Like you said, I still remember talking when Brett wrestled Alley Cat. Like me and you had we chilled an intermission of that one, and like that was just a really cool moment in life beyond all this. And now to say that I'm commentary, me and Dylan Hells do commentary for Southern Underground Pro, like it almost feels unreal because of how crazy it is just to know. I mean, like you're saying, how quick that happened. And now, like, that's the last sub show I called, like, with fans in the basement East, bro. That was insane.
Dude, I got a quick story about that. I remember exactly what you're talking about with the right after Alley Cat at the time versus Brett Eisen for the Bone Storm Championship. Yep. And we were both chilling at intermission on the deck outside of the basement East. And you were a little more involved then with knowing what was going on. And I remember we were just hanging out. And at the time, I was just doing interviews with people, just random interviews, whoever wanted to do an interview kind of thing. And we're standing outside and you're like, hey, man, what do you think about that title match? And I was like, dude, that was a great match. Like, I don't know why that didn't main event, though. Like, they did the title match before the intermission. And, like, Brett's, like, the face of this company. And Allie's the heart and soul of the company. And, like, I don't know why they would have done this at intermission. And you were like, yeah, man, I'm here. They got some wild stuff for the main event. And I was like, I guess we'll see. And the main event wound up being Dominic Guarini and Kevin Coops. Oh, by the way, I'm wearing a Sad Conf shirt. That's how long I've been down. It was before Sad they were even Violence is Forever. They were Sad Conf before they changed their name.
That's right.
And it was the two of them versus Cabana Man Dan and Marco Stunt, a.k.a. They Might Be Giants. And it was an ultra-violent death match in the basement East. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. That's why this was the main event. Like, it was one of the most brutal matches I've ever seen in my life.
Insane, dude. That was a crazy, crazy day.
You mentioned Alley Cat. And now, like, she's one of the top wrestlers on GCW. And I imagine you have relationships with some of these wrestlers that go back further back, like you guys have been talking about. What is it like for you? You mentioned your come up, but now you get to see like your friends come up as well, and they're wrestling at the Hammerstein Ballroom. I see you got the ECW hat on there. Like that was obviously a big spot. Like now I imagine you're seeing a lot of your friends wrestling at the Hammerstein this past month. Like what does that mean for you?
Oh man, it was nuts. I mean, AJ Gray, like I've known AJ. Gosh, I've probably known AJ at least 3 or 4 years. So that was incredible. Jordan Oliver is the guy that I got to know because of his time coming down here and helping getting him booked a couple places. It's incredible, man. Like that's the stuff where, because of how much homework I do, because of all the extra prep time I like to put in, I don't get to watch a ton of wrestling that I'm not involved in, but I always make a point to like, I haven't watched, like, I guess the Hammerstein show was the first one in quite a while that I've watched, start to finish GCW, but every GCW show, I'm going to watch Jordan's match. I'm going to watch Hoodfoot's match. I'm going to watch, it's like you're saying, like, I can just be a fan and understand that, like, the first time I saw Hoodfoot, it was like a comedy thing. Like he did, he was in the orange jumpsuit, like just got off the block or something. And now, he is like the last 6 months, very few names are just hotter on the independent scene because of what it means when you have Hoodfoot on your show now. So it's really hard to put into words other than knowing like obviously that's where I want to be. Like I'm very happy where I'm at now, but it's exciting to know like these talents that have just worked so hard for so long and been told no and been told this and that, and now they did that. Like, they had that amazing show that like everybody saw, and they got to have moments, whether like AJ wants us to, we're going to remember those moments, whether everybody wants us to or not, from that show. And that's the coolest.
Yeah. A name that you mentioned a few times here is Brett, that being Brett Eisen, who, for all intents and purposes, is basically the leader of KOBK. Like, y'all are all a family, but like he's kind of, it's fair to say he's basically the leader of your group, right? And shout out to all those guys. I don't want to miss anyone, but you got Brett Eisen, you got Heater, you got Lutha, you got Sean Campbell, and who am I missing? Akira. Am I missing anyone there?
Akira.
I think I got everyone. Yeah.
No, that's the crew. Sean Campbell. Shout out Sean Campbell. I'm glad you brought him up.
Yeah, I'm glad to see it, because he's only like 19 or something still. So
yeah, he's 20. He may be about to turn 20 or 21. I can't remember. He's a young gun.
So I know you on a more personal level, but like for people watching this, kind of what goes into y'all's decision making on who gets in with your crew?
We really hadn't planned on this until it had to be maybe last October or something like that. It was a couple months before. I've gotten close with Sean. I didn't realize how long I'd known him. Brett has known him for a few years. All of us really like Sean, so it's that thing of we really liked him and just respected his attitude, and like you said, very young, but already has a great brain for what he wants to do. Very good, very confident. So we kind of had all those marks, and then on top of that, he just fits in well with us. Like, he's super duper reckless in a great way in the ring, and kind of that same attitude outside of it. We can all be together, and like kind of we all. I mean, it's that weird thing where we all kind of pick around each other, and it's so much fun. And he fit in well, and he does, man. He just fits what it means for each other to have that, to wear those letters, because of stuff we've been through and the attitude we face of whether good, bad, or ugly. Like, it comes down to the marrow sometimes, the bone marrow, and like Campbell fit, and it happened. We had talked about the day of, like, we think we're gonna do it, and then, like, to your point about Brett, Brett said, if we want it to happen, like, I'll come get the mic from you. So that match ends. He's right there to get the mic from me. And it's such a great moment that we got to have with him. But it's like an unspoken thing of, like, we just kind of knew. Brett brought it up to me, and we brought it up to Heater, and then we all talked about it with Akira and Lutha one night. And it's again that weird thing where it just kind of worked, and now I'm really excited to see what he does this year. He's already had a couple of really crazy matches, fresh into February. He's already put his body out there. I'm really hoping we see him a lot at TWE more this year. But he's one that definitely high on for so many reasons, Sean Campbell.
What are your overall goals? I mean, Jensen mentioned you're running shows, you're obviously doing commentary. I don't want to say where do you see yourself in 5 years? It sounds like a job interview. But like, what are your overall goals?
I think I've changed a lot the last 6 months. 6 months ago, last year, I wanted to be everywhere. I wanted to be on every promotion every weekend. If I could, I'd call it every match. But it just, you can't do it, right? It's just not possible. Everybody has their people. So I had a great year. I think I ended up doing, I think I did commentary in like 8 or 9 states last year. For Counting Mania weekend, where I called, a bunch of different promotions for family reunion. I think 13 different promotions. So I kind of, without really meaning to, I knocked off a lot of goals right there. So right now it's put on big for the South, or we're going to have a big year. Southeast Wrestling, Southeast first. I just want to keep getting better on commentary. I mean, I would love to call some matches, with Struggles, with Emil, keep calling matches to Dylan. To your point, I want to call matches with my friends in big moments. Like that's like if I could be anywhere, it would be calling like one of Jordan's matches in Hammerstein. Like that's really cool to me. Or the Showboat, or just kind of somewhere that big moment. Because I've been blessed to call a lot of really great matches with my friends down here. So I just bigger stage. As far as KOBK shows, like keep surprising everybody, keep having our show come from a great place. We talked about it a million times, but we had a lot of things go against our way that first show, but it came out great because of our energy and the fact that locker room knew that whole show was put together for them, for the fans. I mean, it came from a real place. So just want to keep putting on real shows. We've got May 7th, our next show. We're going to put on 3 total this year. So, and we're going to be back in December with no ring in the TWE arena. I've already got some kind of crazy ideas for that one. So just kind of keep getting better, keep being entertaining, man. Keep having people say they had a great time. I mean, multiple people told me our last show was one of the best they've ever been to, and like, I just more of that, please. Thanks.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, I mean, check it out on IWTV. Use code Fight Talk if you want over there.
Please.
And yeah, see, that helps me and Mose because we do some work together. So but it's one of those things where, like, if y'all don't know what happened in this first show, basically before the show started, the ring broke. So they didn't even have a ring for their first ever show. And all the wrestlers on the fly had to basically just be like, all right, I'm down, and like figure it out, and they did, and the show ruled.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly, yeah. I had a ring, it broke. I had a second ring that an hour before doors. Nope, can't get that ring. Like, we got nothing. And Brett just told me I'm behind the TWE arena. Like, I can feel my heart breaking. And Brett goes, man, we got 2 choices. We either cancel and we can't do that, or we do this. We're going to set this down and we're going to go. I offered everybody booked. I said, listen, I don't expect you to do this. I'm going to pay you no matter what. But don't feel like you have to do this if you don't feel comfortable. And it was like not a hesitation. I mean, the first person to say was Masha. She was very excited about this opportunity. Eric Royal was another one, man. Just everybody on that show. I mean, they're probably sick of me. I'll send like a 2 a.m. thank you text for something 3 months ago. Like, I thank you because it was a home run. I mean, it took me a while. I was upset, man. That's the weird thing. I was upset all night. I didn't sleep all night because it wasn't the show I had in my head. And I got a message from Dylan saying, don't let the show you had already booked in your head mess up the show that happened, because what happened was really cool. But yeah, please, anyone that hasn't, please go watch it. Our IWTV numbers went very well. We are going to be live streaming May 7th. That's official. So we as of now we have a ring. I've told Steven this. Assuming everything goes well, we will only have 1 no ring show a year in December. Only one.
Yes, one scheduled. Like, the others are supposed to have rings. There's one that will intentionally not have a ring.
And it just quickly too. The worst thing too was everyone loved the show, right? So I have multiple messages like, "Oh, just always do these shows," and I'm like, I want to book a wrestling show.
Well, you've got the one show a year. It's almost, I guess, like the anniversary show of, hey, like, we're gonna remember when the ring broke for that show, and we're gonna run that back every year. I like that concept. I think it's tremendous.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I had to because it was. I mean, the next day I'm all down on myself, and I'm just getting, every show KOBK has to do this no ring, and I messaged Brett like, I don't want to do that. Like, and that it was Brett's idea. He's like, then why don't we just do an anniversary December thing? But I've told Steven that I think before. Like, it was like success is so great, but it's also like not the success you want. So it's that weird thing where you're like, everything went well, but like I want a ring, like I want a wrestling ring.
Well, because you're putting together like all these dream matches on the assumption of like you can put on the matches you have in your head with the wrestlers that you wanted to book against each other.
Oh man, it's like the Nick Iggy. We have Nick Iggy versus Cole Radrick on the sold out show from this past December on IWTV, and that the match we got was not at all the match we would have got in the ring. And it's such a weird thing of how it worked. Like it's just, again, a credit to, the locker room. Like I'm eternally thankful to everyone that was on that show.
It added like an extra level of like, I don't like using this term as wrestling fans don't, but like realness in that show, because people had to come out there and like improvise. Like people like who would normally have like a top rope finisher or something that like required the ring. Now they're hitting like stiff lariats instead, or they're using like they're doing tornado DDTs, but instead of using the ring, they're jumping off the wall of the building and stuff. And like, and the crowd was super into it. Shout out to everyone who was there live, because they were hot as hell the whole time. And also, man, speaking of all this, and speaking of Southeast First and just Southern independent wrestling, we both know, as does the world at this point, like the South's about to blow up big time, because uncharted territory is coming down south. We've got a lot of stuff. I mean, a lot of these IWTV shows, it sounds like we're going to be getting live now, that we might not be getting live before. So like this is really like the best time ever to be a fan of independent wrestling, especially if you're a fan of the Southeast scene.
It's hard for me to put into words of how excited we all are. It's something that as proud as we are, especially these last few years, like so much talent in the South right now that's not the goofy talent, the goofy kind of promotions that the South gets a bad rap for. I mean, between Derek Neal, Adam Priest, Merck, Jaden Newman, it's just this talent right now that, because it really has felt like independent wrestling's ran to the Northeast for a while, and those are great promotions up there. But even with shows like Action and Southern Underground Pro and a couple others, really putting on great shows, we still feel so overlooked at times, because it still is like the best of the best in the Northeast. And it's like, well, yeah, some are, but like some are down here. So to see those talents, and then like a Sean Campbell again, so young, maybe with a few more cameras on him the next few months or however this year, it's exciting, man. It's exciting to be a part of it. It's something that I really feel like, as all the times I was told no, and all the times things didn't really work out, and my bad commentary and just maybe given things, I called a Southern Underground Pro match years ago that I look back on, I was not ready for. And I told myself if I ever got back, it's going to be the best I could ever be. So hitting my stride like I am now, with it being this year, it's just, it's an honor to whatever part I end up playing in this. It's going to be really, really exciting, and really something that I know I'm going to hold on to. So I'm going to say it again to Dylan and to Matt Griffin and everybody at Southern Underground Pro, just people that believed in me. Jade Newman at TWE, like it's something that I'm going to bring that energy back to y'all big time.
Mose, we appreciate you joining us here on the show. Let everyone know where they can find you, where they can find your work, and where they can check out KOBK shows.
Please follow me on Twitter at Mose KOBK. As mentioned, our first inaugural show, Sold Out, is on IWTV now. Please go watch that. And then May 7th, KOBK Blood on My Jeans will be streaming live from the TWE Arena. Tickets go on sale. I think I'm going to drop them like March 1st. And also, lastly, please, anyone watching or listening, whatever, February 26th, couple weeks, I'm making my commentary debut for Blitzkrieg Pro up in Massachusetts. Pretty crazy card. Shout out O'Shea Edwards. I'm really excited about it. It's something that, like I said, that last year of really grinding, this is a big moment and something I've worked for. And thank you to Blitzkrieg, and thank you to everyone that said my name on Twitter that got me there. So anyone that could watch that, please do.
I was about to ask that was the one where Blitzkrieg was on Twitter looking for commentary, and I did see O'Shea drop your name on there. I think I did as well. I remember seeing a thread, and it was like Mose, and that is what got you the booking.
It 100% is. It was a lot of the locker room, a lot of the boys and girls that support me. That was really, like you said, it was O'Shea, and then it was Jaden, and I think you did, and Akira, and these people I look up to and respect and just love putting their necks out and their names out for me. And I was literally, true story, I was at a bar with my wife, Haley, and Hardway Heater, eating burgers and drinking Tecates. And I have a DM from Blitzkrieg Pro. Hey, man, what you doing? So to share that with Heater was really cool. But, yeah, again, thank you, everyone. Now, whenever someone says, why do you go on Twitter so much? I'm like, yo, I actually got a booking from Twitter.
Do you owe Jensen a booking fee? Like, do you have to give him part of your cut, Jensen and O'Shea and everybody that, you know,
hey,
tagged
man,
you in that one?
Do not get that started because they don't want it. I assure you they'll want it. And I'll be like, O'Shea, I assure you your envelope's going to be a little thicker, buddy. Don't worry.
Hell yeah, man. Well, thanks for joining us, Mose. It's always a pleasure. And if y'all want to hear me and Mose, we talk MMA pretty often on my podcast. So he's a big UFC fan. Show him some love. Make sure you're following him on Twitter and all that good stuff. So thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. We'll be right back here on the spot.